we are going to touch on this part. This is a submission item, submission requirement item on rendering. Okay, so let's jump to this one first for now. Okay, after this is quite nice and all. Okay, but it's still black and white lines, so we want to get it rendered. So again, go back to the sectional perspective now. Alright, and go to view and click on render. It is simply just here. Okay, down here, we'll just run you through. This is the command to click, it will render. This is the quality of the render settings, in which, depending on the strength of your computer, how much power it has, and against how much time you have also. So for demonstration purpose, I'll just run you through with using the medium mode. Okay, this is the part on output settings. Here, this part says screen by default. Alright, it's a small little render, but you can change that one from printer to 150 dpi to 300 to 600 and so on and so forth. But that's going to take a real long time to render. Alright, so we are going to work with screen for now. And this is the part on lighting. Okay, later you get to see the effects. Some of your seniors, once they got hold of or they learned about how to do rendering inside Revit, they kind of like the effect it comes out. The rendering effect between Revit and Lumion is actually quite vastly different. Okay, there are some of you who like to pursue that photorealism. So Revit is a whole lot closer to that than Lumion. Alright, but Lumion, you pursue the more artistic effects that comes out, and obviously the convenience in terms of render as well as animation timing. Okay, with this, we are going to use the default sun only. Okay, why sun only? Because we got a big hole in the building right now, right? Because it's a sectional perspective right now. We've got a big hole, so we're going to leave it at that for now and then start to render. So these are the basics. Let's cover this part first. Click on that and click render. So with this, you'll find that the rendering is moving, and because it is screen resolution, it should go quite fast. Okay, everything is black. It's rendered black until it is completed. So or near completion, and then you will see this happening this way. Okay. Everybody can do this, I hope. Okay, all good. With this, I need to show you the next part here. Which is on exposure control. Exposure control is this one here. Adjust exposure. So Revit is one of the few rendering engines after you have completed your rendering, you can still make last minute adjustments to it. Particularly, let's say for exposure, or you find that, hey, this is too bright, too washed out already. Let's adjust it darker, so you can shift it a little bit and click apply, so it changes the output immediately. Or you think, hey, that's too dark already, so maybe let's brighten things up a little bit as well. So you can make some adjustments here, this way. Okay, and you know what's with the grays? Everything's all very, very grayish and washed out and all. Perhaps let's make it a little bit warmer below here on saturation, right? You shift it a little bit, apply. So you find that it becomes warmer, and also the white point can be shifted as well. So the image, the sun becomes a little bit more yellowish at that. And then you can obviously adjust the shadows to make it, let's say, darker, and the midtones to become brighter, and the highlights becoming brighter as well at that. So you can make some last minute tweaks and all. All good, okay? Ken? So this is the part. Next we're going to cover on how to save it inside the project. So if you click on this button here, right? Down here called Save to Project. And then we can give it a proper name down here. Alright. Let's say sectional perspective 01. I call it rendering. Okay. Like that. And I'm going to click OK. So what happens is, in this 3D view, there will be one more item here called renderings. Here. Alright, so once you open it up, you can now see it. Okay, this rendering itself. So how to make good use of this? Right click on sheets again, click new sheet, and A3 size again one more time, and then you can simply just drag this image in here somewhere, this way. Oops. Seems that the rendering becomes too big, like that. So how to tweak this? Okay, you can simply tweak this image by double clicking on it to activate the view, and you can select this image and then you can tweak it. You can tweak the rendering by making it bigger or smaller, this way, and when done you deactivate it by clicking outside the image here. And then again we will do what's necessary by stretching or reducing the length of the title tag line here, this way, and realigning the title tag one more time, this way. Okay, then it looks something decent this way as well. Now, in case you are still quite unsure what we are looking out for in item F, which is the rendering bit, okay? For item F, our requirement for Revit in this case, the benchmark would be, as long as you can produce a rendering proper that looks like that inside Revit itself, that's it. Okay, you get the marks you need that we will allocate. We are not looking out for super photorealistic rendering with the top-notch lighting effects and this and that and all. This is not Lumion assessment. But this assessment is to make sure you have the software competency that if called upon to render using Revit inside, you can do it. So that's why as long as we can see it, I think you're competent. You know how to use it already. Okay, that way. Ken, all okay? Am I going too quickly? Okay, then very good. Let's go back to the rendering again. Let's go back to sectional perspective 01 again and call out render one more time. We are going to move to the next function here called export. Save as an external image file. So after we have rendered this already, then how? Click on export, this button here, export and save it. I'm just going to save it as a JPEG file, sectional perspective 01. And, okay, I'll just replace it. No problem. Then obviously, if you want to recall it again, then you can click on show the rendering. Okay, you can toggle between the rendering as well as the model here. Okay, now we're going to change something else now on this part. We are going to jump to this portion on import interior rendering. This portion down here. Okay. Just now what we were using was the external sun only function. Okay. Next I want to show you is this. Change it to external, let's say artificial only. Okay. There are a few rendering modes or rendering schemes, so to speak, in which you can explore on your own on these. So let's try exterior artificial only. Okay, this one, and then click render. I'm not too sure whether you will see what I see or not. I think I will see nothing. Like this. What's going to happen is actually when you choose exterior artificial only, we are actually relying on all the interior lights that we are going to install to get it to work. We haven't got any, so obviously it's going to render as black. Alright, so now we're going to fix it. We need to do something to it by adding in some lights and all. So close this and open up this one under ceiling plans, second story. Do not open the plan, open the ceiling plan, second story. We want to be adding in a ceiling along this portion here. A ceiling is absolutely necessary for a lot of lighting fixtures in using Revit. If you want to be using or you want to be creating effect like our studio, this bare naked, no ceiling look but got light fixtures and all, you still need ceilings. Okay, what's going to happen is you will need to create a ceiling anyway to anchor the lights, and after the light's position is being firmed up and you are okay with it, then you hide in view the ceiling board. Okay, that will be the technique to do it. So let's revise a little bit on this one. Click on architecture, click on ceiling. It's under here and here, in case you forgot where it is. And fine, okay. Now with this, click on this and look for sketch ceiling. We're going to draw it in. This one cannot automatic, so we're going to use this button here, this command down here, sketch ceiling. After you click on this, remember you are inside the drawing mode again, the draw mode. So we will just use the rectangle tool, and I will just very simply just draw a rectangle in here. Alright, that will do the job like this. Okay, I'll just simply plonk in a rectangle. That's going to be my ceiling for now. Okay, for demonstration purpose. After this is done, click finish. So ceiling created here. Okay, now next, so what happens? We need to start to import the types of lights and all inside. Okay, so we will go to insert, we will go to load family, insert load family here. Okay, so click on that, and then if your Revit is properly configured, you should see, do you see Singapore metric, or you just see Singapore, or do you see US in metric, or do you see UK metric or something? Don't know. Rightfully you should see something because you need to load a library. For those of you, because there's something wrong with your installation, you just cannot see this. Okay, now you will go to this folder here under import lighting and rendering. You look for these two items here, M ceiling light flat round or M ceiling light linear box, these two. Okay, so I'm going to look for metric, lighting, architectural, internal. These are the first two types of lights that we have and can see. Okay, down here and here. Do you see in the preview down here, there is a yellow color something something there? The yellow thing is the light illuminant. Okay, the light illuminating device, like a fluorescent tube or something. The ones in black colored box, those are actually the light fixture as such. Okay, so I'm just going to load these two. And that's it, nothing's going to happen. Okay, so how to call out the lights now? Do you still remember, guys? I want to load the lights now, then how to load. Okay, if you can't recall, go to architecture, component, place a component. It's under here. Click on the component drop down list and look for place a component. This one. Okay, Ken? Inside here, you should see the types of lighting devices down here. Alright, you should see M ceiling round, flat round, and M ceiling linear box. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to use the very last one, the 277 volt one. So I'm going to use this and put it somewhere here. And then I am going to use the M ceiling light flat round, the 100 watt 277 volt one on each side here and here. And I am going to select this fixture and just use the rotate tool to rotate it by 90 degrees. Just to make it look right, that's all, really. So it's going to look something like this, alright? Do you need more time to complete this part? Oh, you're good? Alright, once we are done with this, let's go back to our sectional perspective here. Let's open up sectional perspective and zoom in and see. Do you see the light fixtures down here? You must make sure before we do anything else later, the light fixtures are visible. If they're not visible, we're not going to have anything happening. All right, okay. Now with this, let's take a look. All right, with this now, if the light fixtures are showing up in your sectional perspective, we can now revisit the command again under view, under render again. All right. And now we're going to keep the same configuration under exterior artificial only. All right. Can you work with me on this? Exterior artificial only, and click render and let it run. Much of the building should still be black except for those areas with light. Okay, so there you go. Okay. And obviously this is not the best effect we have at the moment, but with some bit of post-production adjustments, like for example increasing the exposure a little bit, we can make things shine a whole lot brighter. Okay, obviously that. And maybe we drop the highlights a little bit. That's too much highlight already, so not really that nice. Okay, and also we can make it warmer, make the saturation a little bit more intense, and then we can jack the exposure up even more, so we can increase the brightness and so on as well. Okay, that's one way of adjusting our renderings for one. Okay, and for testing sakes, you might want to change it to say interior artificial only and click render again to just see how the interior lighting scheme is like. Exact same model but different color types, color schemes. And then obviously we can then adjust the exposure again one more time and to see if there are any visible differences or not, like that. Alright, to address some Q&A issues, some questions and answer issues on the submission requirement for one. Alright, I have some very commonly asked questions here. Hey, John, what are you looking for in the submission for the rendering part? The rendering part, we are essentially looking at your ability to compose a camera and doing a rendering. We can accept things what they are if you prepare a sectional perspective and get it rendered. But if you know, hey, John, my cafe really got nothing because I cheated in my plan, right? Actually, everything else, there's nothing 3D. Everything is all your MATTEC 2 drawing all dumped inside. And then you use that for submission last time around. Okay, I did well too. It's got to be okay at that. But the thing about this is, this time around, oh dear, there's a rendering bit. Rendering means you've got to set up some 3D. Okay? I don't think we will be fortunate enough to see you prepare and model the entire cafe 100%. Because to do that, to do rendering would warrant that. So what we would at least require from you, okay, is like looking at that one angle where the OSE plotter is. So you can prepare, let's say, 2 walls, and then your fixture, your custom built caseboard family is actually there in place of our OSE plotter, and then you capture the angle, you render it with a light or two. I think that will be fine. That will be okay already. Okay, if that answers that question. One last thing before we wrap it up for the week, okay, is this one. What you see down here is rendering done using my superpower $6,000 computer to do. Okay, so that's why in medium mode you can do this kind of rendering real quick. However, though, if I were to jack this guy up to like the best mode, and then I set it to printer, because I need to, you know, do an A0 size drawing, I need it 300 dpi printer and so on, and then I render it. Don't follow me on this, this one. I'm just showing you, that's all. So this is more of a realistic scenario timeline situation where rendering starts to take place. And when you do rendering, this kind of production level rendering in using your computer, which is what, 3 years old now, okay, or more. So even if it survives the ordeal, it's going to take you at least 5 to 6 hours for one rendered view. And then you come to realize that, oh no, that's not the color or the texture or the effect I want. Then got problem, you got to re-render, then it cannot. Okay, so that poses a challenge or a problem. I'm kidding you, you will never see the end result because it wouldn't happen. So, all right, just give you an idea roughly. That's only 10% after I talk so much. So yes, we're going to stop it. All right. So in reality, it cannot. You need help from higher powers, so to speak. Okay, how to get help from higher powers? You get it here. You see this part on the top right hand corner or not? Okay, I want you to do a sign in. Click on that sign in. Okay, let me do a sign out first. Click on sign in. Then sign in to Autodesk 360. Look, if you don't have, go and make one. Go and create an account like right now. We've got some time, so let's do it. Okay, you just need an email. It's free, by the way. All right, do it. Okay, so I put in a my own personal account here. Okay, I have already signed up, so I do it. I signed it up, and that's it. And then after that, I sign in. I sign in. So once you are in, your profile is already here. And by signing in, it gives you that one little privilege down here called Render in Cloud. I wish in 3D Studio Max they have this also, then wow, I'll be a very happy man. Okay, at that. Because Max takes forever to do rendering nicely. Okay, especially when you activate mental ray, then you want to commit suicide, right? Because it's just taking so long to do. Okay, I'll give you a while, get yourself sign in and verify your account and so on, because you really need to use it like right now. I cannot sell Puyo to you hard enough with regards to this particular feature. If you are ever going to use Revit to render, you almost always need to render this in cloud. Okay, because back in my old office days, we tried to render a tower for a project in Dubai. The tower just nothing but one tower, and my colleague was doing it, and the rendering took 24 hours. And then he realized, oh shit, I forgot one little detail of the building. And we only captured that one after we saw it. After we saw the rendering. Yeah, can lah, but then you lose the 24 hours on nothing. Okay, so then then crap, man. So got to remodel that portion in and then re-render again. Okay, those were the pre-render in cloud days. Now once this is in, here's what I want you to do. Okay, click on this button here called Render in Cloud. This one comes out and it shows you that step 1, 2, 3 and so on. You simply just click on continue. Okay, And Revit is pretty smart. It will detect what view you want. Is it going to be a still image, and standard, how fast, how big you want that image to be, and so on. And the exposure, this one we can adjust, don't worry. PNG, what kind of file format? You want to save it in a JPEG, or you want to save it in a PNG file, this is loose, by the way, or you want it in a gigantic file format, which is TIFF format. Actually, I find all these are really overrated, so you can get away with just using JPEG anyway. Okay. Now with this, there are what you call the render credits available to you. So if you are a free user, you get less credits and all. Okay. If you have credit, you can render. If you don't have credit, then you can't render. Okay. So use it sparingly. From time to time, they recover it back and so on. Okay. And you want to be using this mode here called email me when complete. Okay, once that happens, then you can click on start rendering. Okay, once you start the rendering job, okay, what happens is Cloud Render will move your entire project to cloud, where there are a whole bunch of computers doing nothing but just sitting there, all strung up, all networked to just do rendering. It's like a render farm. You just do rendering. Okay, and you can do it in a couple of minutes compared to a couple of hours. So that's really not too bad at all. And this is free service, you know. Hey, look, while rendering is going on, right, my computer is not paralyzed. It's a two separate situation now. I leave the job to somebody else to do. Hey, and I can continue with my work, doing up my work, setting up my sheets, and preparing my printing, and so on and so forth. So there's really nothing else to do on that. Okay, as such. Now with that, we can also click on Render Gallery. This button down here called Render Gallery. Once you click on that, it opens up, and then you are going into your My Page. Okay, your My Page here, where you can really see the rendering progress inside Autodesk 360. Alright, you can see it here right now. I have this sectional perspective.rvt, and then we can take a look at this. Alright. And also under gallery, you can take a look and see quite a few nice pre-rendered images for you. Some of the works shared by other users as well. Okay, so you can really do some pretty frightening works using Revit creations as well. Okay, so that gives you an idea. You know, you can do up plans that are quite nicely done. This is a super ornate, highly decorative scheme like that. Alright, pretty highly detailed. So if you look at this, Revit can give you pretty decent effects as such. Alright. Okay, so what's really happening is when the job is done, if you click on and look at my email here, when the job's done, Revit sends you an email and informs you that the job is quite done already, and then it sends you as an attachment. So you see, your rendering is done and so on, and then gives you a preview of what it's like so that you can download the rendering or the image itself, okay, as such. So quite useful, this function here, because you want to free up your computer resources so you can do other things while the most computationally intensive and heavy part of the work is left to the cloud to do. Alright. So that is the end of what we want to share with you for this lesson for this week.